So over the past couple of weeks, I've put a ton of time into the Modern Warfare 3 beta, and now that it's ended and I've had a few days to collect my thoughts, I wanted to share some of those with you to help you decide whether or not this game is worth your money, because $70 for a game is kind of expensive, and a lot of people don't even see this as a full game. They see it as more of a DLC for Modern Warfare 2 that should have just been released free as an update. But is that really true? Does this game have enough content, and is it different enough to be released as its own game? I'll talk about that later in the video, as well as things that I liked, things that I didn't like, and things that I personally hope to see change for the full release of the game. So you guys know, I have bought and played every single Call of Duty for the last 16 years, since COD 4, the original Modern Warfare on PlayStation 3. So I have a lot of experience and insight when it comes to what works and doesn't work in a Call of Duty, and I think Modern Warfare 3 really works. I personally have not had this much fun playing a Call of Duty beta, I don't think ever. I was able to sink so much time into this game, even though it was limited modes, guns, and maps. I still had a blast playing this game. I'd hop on and time would just fly. You might be able to just chalk that up to nostalgia playing on the old Modern Warfare 2 maps, but I also think that this gameplay is just actually really good. On a scale of 1 to 10, if Modern Warfare 2 2022 was like a 6, I'd have to say the Modern Warfare 3 beta is like an 8 or an 8.5. It really just gave me that feeling I used to get when I played Call of Duty way back in the day. I think Sledgehammer saw a lot of the things that Infinity Ward was doing wrong, and they really did listen to the community and made a lot of changes that people were asking for. That first change, which I loved so much, is the movement. You know, me coming from Apex, obviously I'm gonna be a movement enjoyer, and it just really sucked in Modern Warfare 2 when you get penalized for movement. There was no slide canceling. It actually took longer to shoot if you were sliding. Unfortunately, the penalties for jumping are still kind of in Modern Warfare 3. Hopefully that gets changed. But even just giving a slide canceling back just makes the pace of the game feel so much better, and it really allows those aggressive playstyles to shine. And there is nothing better than breaking someone's ankles with movement and just absolutely embarrassing them. But slide canceling isn't the only thing. Just the overall speed and fluidity of the movement feels so much better in Modern Warfare 3 than it did in Modern Warfare 2. It's nice to be able to get off Apex and still be able to do movement on another game. You also really know that movement is back when you see all the YY montage kids coming out of the woods on Twitter. Next thing I really enjoyed is the maps. Like I said earlier, this could potentially be just chalked up to nostalgia, because I put a ton of time into these maps back in the day. Because if you guys didn't know, I used to be a Modern Warfare 2 trick shotter. Literally every day when I got home from school, we would 6-man S&D from the time I got home till like 2 or 3 in the morning when I went to bed. So I know these maps like the back of my hand, but I also do just think that these are good maps in general. I just really enjoy the basic 3-lane map design. I know some of the maps kind of stray for that, like Estate, it's really big. Skid Row isn't like a standard 3-lane map, but it kind of is. But just the old classic standard map designs, they just play so well, and they're gonna play even better when they get the spawns fixed, but I'll talk about that later. Like, those are the maps that made Call of Duty what it is today. I'm just really excited to get back on those old maps. Another thing that I really enjoyed about the beta was the longer TTK. I'm sorry for referencing Apex again, but coming from Apex where the TTK is very long, this Modern Warfare 3 TTK really still feels like nothing. It's still pretty quick, but it's not 2 to 3 shot instant like it was in Modern Warfare 2, so it gives you a little bit of time to react and potentially outplay them, especially with the movement in the game. There's so much more outplay potential now. I also really enjoyed how the perks were laid out. You have your first set, which is kind of like reload related stuff like fast hands or scavenger. Then you have your second tier, which is mostly like movement stuff, where you can make your slide cancel a little bit faster, or you could increase your movement speed or have dead silence. And your third tier, which is kind of like your stronger like miscellaneous perks like the bone conductor headset. You could hear footsteps a lot better, or ghost, where you just stay off the radar. I do like how they changed ghost to where you have to be moving to stay off the radar. And you also have your vests, your flak jacket, your tac mask, or you could just get increased sprint duration. I just feel like there's a lot more flexibility with the perks this year, and they're all instant at the start of the match. There's no bullshit where you have to wait like 5 minutes for your perks to kick in. I hated that. I'm glad they took that out of this game. Visual recoil is also just way better in this game. You can actually see what you're shooting at for the most part. There are still a few problems, I'll talk about that later, but overall just seeing and tracking people, especially on M&K, is way better than it was in Modern Warfare 2. I also like the attachments a little bit more in this game than Modern Warfare 2, because Modern Warfare 2 attachments just had so many downsides when you'd put them on. Like, why does a red dot in Modern Warfare 2 slow my ADS down so much and make me feel like I'm in the mud every time I try to ADS? That's just not a thing in Modern Warfare 3. There are still downsides to other attachments, but they're not nearly as significant as they were in Modern Warfare 2, and it'll probably be even less with weapon tuning in the future. The last thing I really enjoyed about the beta was the communication from Sledgehammer Games. Throughout those 2 weeks, it really felt like they were listening to what the community wanted in their game, and they made the changes pretty quickly. So I want to give them props on that. Hopefully that's something that'll continue throughout the lifespan of the game. But now let's get into the part that you guys really want to hear, and that's what I didn't like about the beta. First thing, and this is probably everybody's most hated thing about the beta, is the spawns. Like, these spawns just made absolutely no sense. Generally on high rise, you know, one team spawns on one side, the other team spawns on the other until maybe one or two people push into the spawn too far and then you guys flip. But it was just completely random. Like I'm spawning behind enemies, I'm spawning underground in their spawn as they're spawning above me. I'm spawning on the side of the map staring at three people who just spawned. It was just a complete mess. In domination, it doesn't matter what flags you have, it's just going to spawn you wherever it wants. Exclusive Ace did a whole video on this and showed that there really isn't any logic to the spawns right now. And that's why I think that S&D played really well in this game. You don't have to worry about any of the spawns. And also these maps, they almost feel like they were made for search, but I'm sure that they've seen the feedback by now. There have been so many videos made about this. Next thing that I really didn't like about the beta, and people in the comments might cry down below, but this was the SBMM. If you guys played this beta, you know that the SBMM was cranked, and if you don't think it is, you are lying to yourself. It definitely wasn't unplayable, but if you wanted to have a decent game, you really had to sweat. And I'm not going to sit here and complain about SBMM and tell them to completely remove it, because I think a little bit of it is necessary. Like, I should never be in a lobby against someone who just got the game with no thumbs, who can't even move around, but I also don't need to be in a lobby with 11 other me's. Maybe loosen it up just a little bit, I don't know. Like I said, it wasn't unbearable, but you could feel it. Next thing we have to talk about is the visibility. Not only just the map visibility, but also the visibility while you're shooting and the visibility of your teammates and enemies. Now, if you guys played, you probably know what I'm talking about when I say this, but the maps feel like kind of hazy or foggy, like there's a weird filter over them, and also kind of grainy in certain areas. It just kind of makes things hard to see and blends everything together, and it's kind of hard to pick out enemies. I think there needs to be a little bit more contrast on the maps and also more contrast on the enemies, because I cannot tell you how many times I turned around and shot my own teammate in this beta. They did add a little bit of larger nameplates above them, but that's still not enough. There still needs to be more contrast between the player models and the maps themselves. Real quick, while we're on the topic of shooting our own teammates, the teammate footsteps were also kind of overtuned, especially when you have the bone conductor headset on. Like, I didn't even use the bone conductor headset because I just could not tell the difference between a teammate and an enemy. Another bad thing about the beta was the hit registration. This could also just be because of the servers. You know, they're in beta, they were testing everything. The servers probably weren't that great, and I know they weren't that great because multiple occasions I just had packet loss and just games where I was stuck and I couldn't move. Whoa, 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 yo, I'm lagging. What's going on? What just happened? It felt like there were times where I was mag dumping into a player, getting tons of hit markers, but then he'd kill me in 1 or 2 shots. Sure, sometimes that could just be me getting outgunned, but there's also times where it is server-sided and it's just not picking up your bullets. That might be another reason why a lot of people don't really like the TTKs, because of this inconsistency with the hit registration. But this was a beta, so you can't fully judge it. Another bad thing, we still have the same shitty UI from Modern Warfare 2. A lot of people refer to it as like the Hulu style UI, which I'm personally not a fan of. I find it kind of hard to navigate through the menus and find all the different attachments and stuff. And speaking of attachments, they still have this weird system in place where you have to level up other guns to get attachments for other guns. So say I want a really good grip for my ACR, I have to level up some random shotgun. I don't really like that. I think you should just be able to get the attachment for your gun that you want to use by using that gun, but I don't think that'll go away. And my last sort of issue with this game is how the game felt to play on mouse and keyboard. There were a lot of times that I noticed, and also many others have noticed, that the mouse input on this game just feels kind of off. A lot of people describe it as mouse accel, or my mouse feels really heavy, or it feels like I'm tracing around the outside of my enemy. And there were some times where I felt that, but I don't really think it's because of any built-in mouse acceleration. It's probably just because the game isn't completely optimized yet, and that on top of the server issues probably made it feel way worse than it actually is. Also, the weird weapon sway is still in the game, so if you hit fire on M and K and you move your crosshair left or right really fast, your crosshair isn't going to be completely accurate, and I'll show a clip of that real quick. Link to his video will be down in the description if you want to watch the full thing. I'm not sure why this is in the game. It was in the game in Modern Warfare 2 as well, but it makes aiming on a mouse feel pretty inconsistent. There's also still really bad weapon sway in the game that can obstruct your view and make it really hard to track an enemy. But that's pretty much it. Those are my overall gripes with the game right now. So what do I hope for in the future? Obviously, I hope they make the movement even better. Slide canceling is back, but it's not completely back. Maybe if they remove just a little bit of that delay, just even more. It doesn't have to be instant like it used to be in Modern Warfare 19, but give us just a little bit less delay. I also want to see them remove some of the ADS speed penalty for jumping. Maybe even let us B-hop again. It doesn't need to be a continuous B-hop, but at least one. I don't think one B-hop is too bad. I don't think many people would complain about that. Obviously, like we talked about earlier, fix the visibility of the maps, give them a little bit more color, remove whatever hazy or foggy effect is going on, give player models a little bit more contrast so that you can see them a little better. And for visibility while you're shooting, I want to see them reduce some of that weapon sway. I think that would help a ton for tracking on a mouse. Obviously, I want them to fix the spawns, and with the overwhelming amount of feedback and videos that they've gotten on the spawns, I am almost positive that there's going to be a change to that. Are they going to be like the original Modern Warfare 2 map spawns? Probably not. So they're not going to be as good as that. It's not going to be as easy to spawn trap, but I do have hope that it will get better from what it is now. Next thing I would like to see is maybe slightly lower SBMM, at least just a little bit. But what I'd really like to see is a ranked mode just way faster than when they usually give it to us. Like a ranked mode within the first month or two of the game, because if I'm going to be playing against people of my skill level, I at least want to be getting something out of it. And a ranked mode is perfect for that. I wouldn't complain about it if it was in ranked. Next thing is to fix the server issues. By doing this, the hit registration would feel a lot more consistent. TTK would feel more consistent. Address some of the issues with packet loss, because man, I experienced a lot of packet loss during this beta. But now the final question, is this game worth the $70? Personally, yeah, I think it is. We're getting 16 maps. Although not new, they are completely remastered and they play 10 times better than anything we've gotten in the last few years for Call of Duty. I think this would be a really good chance for people who didn't get to experience it back in the day to truly experience what COD feels like on good, well-made maps. There's also tons of other maps and guns coming in the future. And unlike years before, everything you got in Modern Warfare 2 is going to be ported over to Modern Warfare 3. So you're not losing any of that money you spent on cosmetics going into a new COD like you would on any single other COD ever made. And just the overall gameplay improvements that they've made from last year to this year are enough to justify the price for me. Just the overall gameplay experience, the fluidity of the game, the movement, how it feels to shoot, just feels so much improved from last year. Like Modern Warfare 2 doesn't even compare at all to this game. And I really do feel like Sledgehammer is listening to the community when it comes to the changes that we want for COD. For the most part, at least, like sure, there's going to be some things that they can't do. There's always going to have to be some sort of compromise, but I really do feel like they are listening. And I think that this next year is going to be a big year for Call of Duty. People say that every year, but I really think it will be. I put a lot of time into Modern Warfare 3 and I loved every second of it, except for when people were spawning directly behind me. But other than that, I had a blast playing the game. And I think that if you guys really do enjoy Call of Duty as a game, maybe not so much Modern Warfare 2, but if you enjoy playing COD, then I think that you'll really love this game. Depending on how well this video does, I may make more Call of Duty videos in the future. That's one thing I've always wanted to do, because I used to make COD videos when I was in high school all the time. And I've been kind of trapped with Apex since I started doing YouTube. So branching out to a game that I really do enjoy playing would be a huge plus for me. But that being said, if you guys enjoyed this video, please be sure to leave a like and a comment. Don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss any future videos. Let me know what your guys' thoughts were on the beta, or just in Modern Warfare 3 in general, in the comments down below. I'd love to hear from some of you guys. But that's going to be it for me. I really hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I hope you guys have a great rest of your day. Peace.